Coming to you live at Tressel Field on the campus of Baldwin Wallace University. We're ready for men's lacrosse as the Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jackets host the Bearcats from St. Vincent College. Hi, everybody. Brennan Gulick and Jeff Miller along with you. This is a Baldwin Wallace lacrosse team that's had a tremendous start to the season. In fact, since losing their opener to a Division I opponent, Cleveland State, in their inaugural year for their program, the Yellow Jackets have not lost since. And they are coming off of one of the most dominating wins in program history, a 24-1 drubbing of Muskingum on Saturday, Jeff.
Pretty impressive outcome there for the Yellow Jackets, especially with it being a team that hadn't played almost in 2 weeks, with it being snowed out in a good challenge up in Alfred, New York. But so they had a well-rested break there, and they came out all guns a-firing.
Jackets have been known to be one of the top defensive teams in the country each of the last couple of seasons, and that certainly hasn't changed here this year. 223 teams compete at the Division III level for men's lacrosse. They are ranked second in the nation, giving up less than 5 goals per game. So on top of the fact that they're scoring like they did on Saturday, playing good defense, that's usually a winning tactic.
Well, especially if you only give up 1 goal in that 24-1 victory. So, yeah, something that Coach Heisler and Coach Tarnow pride themselves on is their defense here, and keep working on the offensive end. You know, great defense leads to a great offensive attack.
Jason Tarnow in his 5th year, trying to lead the Jackets to an OAC championship. Here's the starting lineup for Baldwin Wallace tonight. Senior defender Josiah Grieve from Milford will make yet another start. He's been a mainstay in that defense. On attack, it's junior Alex Binner, sophomore attacker from Medina, and a transfer from Lemoyne College, Mike Nanoski. Nate Karatis is a sophomore goalkeeper. Brian Jedzinski, a sophomore defender. Alex Fiorito is a senior midfielder from Walsh Jesuit High School, and he's from Akron. Thomas Mesh, the sophomore midfielder, makes the start. Senior Michael Dickey is a defender from Rocky River. We talked to him earlier this week. He's pretty excited for this nice little stretch of games for BW. Cole McClary, the sophomore midfielder, and Chad Steinwalks, the team's leading scorer, 13 goals on the season. He's a sophomore from Buffalo. It's a team that obviously has a couple of really talented defenders in Grieve and in Dickey, but when Steinwalks is scoring at a high rate and Brock Riemenschneider, the junior, coming off the bench with 10 goals of his own, he's certainly playing well too.
The senior leadership out of Michael Dickey has been a key since he stepped foot on the Tressel Field here. So, like you said, the defense prides himself. Tonight, though, in net, and with all OAC goalie Mike DeZano taking the night off to give some playing time here to other players. So, it's going to be one of those things.
DeZono's one of the top keepers in the country, not just in the Ohio Athletic Conference. Yellow Jackets in white, and of course St. Vincent in the dark green jerseys. We are underway, and we get an immediate missed shot from the far side. Nanoski a little low and off to the right. Starters for St. Vincent: Trevor Howe, the senior defender. Frank Casil, a freshman midfielder who's had a great start to his freshman season, already 10 goals for him. Anthony Hogeback, Ben Price, Michael Gruss, Hunter Sharp, Granville Wagner, Colin McMillan's in goal, Jeremy Kennedy, and Alex Muser rounded out for St. Vincent. Of course, St. Vincent typically plays in the President's Athletic Conference in just about all of their varsity sports, but not in lacrosse. They play in a special conference called the Ohio River Lacrosse Conference. Bethany, Hanover, Mount St. Joe's, St. Vincent, Teal, Transylvania, W&J, and Westminster, all in that conference for men's lacrosse as the Yellow Jackets lose possession. Just getting underway. If you're joining us a little bit late, by the way, our officials tonight: Philip Nelson, Ed Lloyd, and Al Bagdonis. About 50 degrees, mostly cloudy skies in Berea. Wind chill is a little bit of a factor. It's breezy from left to right across your screen. Feels about 45 at the moment. Still about an hour or so left of daylight in Northeast Ohio. Behind the net, Nanoski. Circling around. Fires one low, and the Jackets strike first.
Nifty move there by Nanoski for his 9th goal of the year. As you said earlier, as a transfer coming into Berea, been a key spark for the Yellow Jackets offense this year.
Comes just a minute and a half into our first quarter.
And that'll be the 23rd unanswered goal if you go back to Saturday for the Yellow Jackets.
Yeah, you're right. It was a close game early against Muskingum, and that's probably the best way we can put it. Things did not go well for the Muskies thereafter. St. Vincent, meanwhile, we talked a little bit about what BW has done. The Bearcats kind of struggling. They're 1-5 on the season. They're pretty good at playing man down defensively. But other than that, they are usually in the lower third of teams nationally.
Fiorito wins the faceoff like he usually does for the Yellow Jackets.
He is tremendous. Mitchell takes a spill. He seems to be okay. Ball worked behind the net. Near side now, and Stein walks.
No stranger to the Finney turf as he plays football here in the fall for the Yellow Jackets.
Chad, a tremendous football player, but given his success on the lacrosse field, he might decide that maybe he should be identified lacrosse first. I know some of his teammates certainly feel he's pretty talented out there with a stick. Being checked a little bit, gives it away. Low shot, ricocheted out. Not a bad idea there from Matt McDowell, junior transfer from Ohio Wesleyan.
BW will maintain the possession.
Nice pass across the defense. A little bit of bumping up high. Ball knocked free.
Ground ball going to be picked up by the goalkeeper. Clear attempt coming for the Bearcats. And they're going to get it cleared. Attempt was good.
It was Casil that raced up the field. Now Hogeback has it. It's the first time we've really seen St. Vincent's offense have a chance to kind of go to work. A couple of substitutions here as Nanoski runs out, and more of a defensive line with Brian Musial, the sophomore, running in. Check that, Brian Musial's a senior.
And Jared Gilliam just checked in as well for the Yellow Jackets.
Alex Muser cradling the ball. No driving lane for him. Bobbled, still picked up and controlled. Nice recovery by freshman Ben Price. St. Vincent possessed the ball here for a while. See if they can get something out of it. Down 1-0 as Baldwin Wallace struck early. Nanoski, the first goal of the game. Floated behind the net. Nice deflection. Nate Karatis just got a piece of it, sent the ball wayward. St. V's trying to continue with possession. Finally picked it up and then bobbled it for just a moment. Boy, look at the way Josiah Grieve is playing defense. Finally knocks that ball free with the long stick. He is so good defensively. Rolls out of bounds. Not just one of the best in the conference, but honestly one of the best defenders in Division III. His length and his athleticism, and honestly his strength, really a big component for him.
He could go down as one of the best players, and I know this is a fairly new program for the Yellow Jackets, but could go down as one of the best players to ever step foot on the field here for the lacrosse program.
And if you don't know Josiah Grieve, the senior loves his Harley. Saw him riding down Bagley Road the other day with his purple Harley, had his hair pulled down behind his head, got long hair, pulled back a little bit with the cage on, but he was clearly enjoying the nice weather late last week. All right, Hunter Sharp on the attack, looks underneath. Not a bad idea, but it didn't work out well for Jeremy Kennedy. And the Jackets finally grab the ball back. About 5 minutes here into our opening quarter. Jadzinski gives it up. Gilliam racing up the field with it in his right side.
And that's a clear attempt, good for the Yellow Jackets, so it's 1-1 right there. Both clear attempts by both teams have been successful so far.
Baldwin Wallace leads on the 9th goal of the season by sophomore Mike Nanoski. Some passing back and forth here. Judd Houston, the sophomore from Rutherford B. Hayes High School in Delaware, down in the Columbus area. Hard effort, and look at Steinwalks fire one into the net. From nearly an impossible angle, Steinwalks rifles one home, and his 4 is a 2-0 lead.
That was such a bang-bang play there for Steinwalks. Like you said, the angle that he had, he should have thrown it into the opposite end bleachers here at Finnie Stadium, but found the back of the cage. It was a boom-boom play. It was awesome.
It's amazing to me that he was able to score from essentially 2 yards in front of the net and well off to the side. I think it pretty clearly caught St. Vincent off guard defensively. Well, we played a penalty-free game so far on both sides as Grieve tries to defend the far side. Ogaback behind the net.
It seems to, in the early playing here, that the Bearcats are trying to stretch out the BW defense, and they're not falling for it so much. They're playing a lot behind the cage and trying to get the defense back so they can sneak one in.
Shot came from the far side, off mark from Alex Muser, and the ball rolls out of bounds. And the Yellow Jackets will have it. So it's picked up by Grieve, and the whistle restarts things. Again, you mentioned that Mike DeZono, the junior keeper who's really been good this year, not playing today. So far, the Jackets are doing just fine without him. Coach's decision to start the sophomore Nate Karatis. Ball controlled up in the front. Mike Nanoski has it. Waits for a couple of substitutes to come on. Now Steinwalks. Jackets setting up for the attack. Not a bad idea, but Gerlach denied. To the far side now. Looking for some spacing. Nanoski into the middle, deflected and given away for just a moment. Kubiak had a stick on it. The Jackets pick it back up. Nice recovery. Oh, the Bearcats with a great steal away. That one gets knocked free. Yellow Jackets sideline's pretty amped up. And looks like a timeout was just called for by Baldwin Wallace. Wow. Pretty fired up after a nice defensive play to jar the ball free.
Went back and forth right there. Hudson had possession, lost it on a pass across, then Bearcats coming back, and Hudson gives him a nice check to get the ball loose, and then possession to the Yellow Jackets. Quick timeout by Jason Tarnow and the Yellow Jackets.
7:09 left in our first quarter, so we're almost halfway through this opening frame. BW with 2 goals on 6 shots. 3 shots on goal so far for St. Vincent, but none of them have found the back of the net. Lots going on here on campus this upcoming weekend. The women's lacrosse team will be home on Saturday against Wilmington. Softball, baseball, and tennis all in action as well. Track and field will be competing. Nice to see the spring sports in full swing, but the men will be on the road here for a little bit before returning back home. Got a couple of consecutive road games in conference play. They'll play Wilmington and Heidelberg. This game against St. Vincent tonight, the final non-conference game of the season. And while the Jackets have played well, they probably wish that the strength of schedule may have favored them a little bit more. I know there are games against W&J and Transylvania, a couple other teams that compete in the Ohio River Lacrosse Conference. Those are teams that, certainly they're regional opponents, but haven't had particularly strong seasons. As play resumes.
Newer sport in this area, so the North Coast Athletic Conference is the stronghold over this area in men's lacrosse because it's been going on for so long. So these schools, they're still learning the sport in 5 years here in BW. So competition is not always there. Look for not playing all the tough guys right at the beginning. And right there, number 21 for Michael Gruss just ran over Nanansky, I believe it was.
That was vicious contact.
It was actually Jack Gerlach. I'm sorry on that. So, but yeah, BW in the offensive end there, and I don't know how Gruss got it, but he ran right through Gerlach.
Steinwalk's possessing, trying to feel out the defense for a moment, see if he can slip by somewhere. Keeps on working. Fielded a couple of little blows there from Gruss before giving it up. Now Houston shoots and scores.
Nice left-handed wrister low past the keeper for the third goal of the year, or third goal of the game so far for the Yellow Jackets. Nice play there by Hudson.
6:03 left in the opening period. Judson Houston puts Baldwin Wallace on top 3-0. That's his 8th goal of the season.
Well-balanced offense and defense for this team. That, you know, it's not one person standing out for either side of the thing. They're playing Jacket lacrosse that the coaches want, so they're not a selfish team. They want the prize at the end of the year.
Of course, Jason Tarnow comes from one of the more prestigious programs in collegiate lacrosse, regardless of division. Salisbury University along the eastern shore of Maryland, reigning national champions, and well, to say that they're reigning national champions probably doesn't do justice to what that program has done. They've sort of been the measuring stick for collegiate lacrosse, especially at this level. More college national championships than any other program. And once again this year, Salisbury is having a tremendous season, one of just a handful of teams still undefeated as the season rolls along to about its midway point here in the spring. Goes out of bounds and goes to St. Vincent. Clock continues to wind right about the 5-minute mark of our first quarter. Flag finally flies. We get a foul here on the near side. It looks like it's on Josiah Grieve. So the Jackets will play down a man without Grieve on the field. Certainly not how they drew it up, but Baldwin Wallace defensively has actually been really good this year in man-down defense. 8th in the country.
Just another example how good this defense has been all year in the last 3 years.
They are only allowing a goal 88% of the time. I beg your pardon. They do not allow a goal 88% of the time when they are playing down a man defensively. St. Vincent trying to figure things out on offense.
That was a holding penalty against Grieve, so he's in the penalty box for a 30-second penalty.
Loose in front of the cage, and the Jackets pick up the ball.
Trying just to run out the power play kill, if we're going to use the hockey term.
It was a nice job, I think, there by Baldwin Wallace sophomore Liam Oberst. Then he flung it across the length of the field.
And I think we're back to full strength.
What a save! Karatis reaches up and he finds it in the back of his net.
And quickly here they come the other way.
You're right, quick strike. A little too high from Brian Musial. That was a rapid change of possession. DeZono's absence hasn't hurt in this first quarter. Meanwhile, Steinwalks throws another one in the back of the cage, and it is 4-0 Baldwin Wallace.
That quick, I didn't even see it. Where I'm sitting here, I can't even see the cage, so I tried to move back, and you're saying he's in the back of the cage, so that's how quick he quick fires those goals in.
His 15th goal of the season. Steinwalks with a multi-goal first quarter. And for St. Vincent, it's gut check time, down 4-0 on the road early on. Face off at midfield, still loose. And it's pulled in for St. V's by Joe Povell. Oh, the Yellow Jackets pick it up. A bad turnover. Quick shot, and it's just barely picked up in time. Thomas Mesh tried to one-hop it in there. The Jackets still possess it off to the defensive end of the field. Fiorito plays it forward. Alex Benner looking around, waiting for a sub. Throws to Steinwalks in his pretty usual spot on the field. Steinwalks looking for some opening, and he is really hit hard. The Bearcats, I think they're doing a pretty good job of marking him early on, but Steinwalks is still finding some openings. Derek Andrews lost the ball, but it will stay with BW. All right, the clock continues to wind, under 3 minutes left in the first quarter. 4-0 Yellow Jackets. Steinwalks with 2 goals. Nanoski and Judson Houston have the other 2. Comfortable, cool night in Berea. Glad to have you along. Alongside of Jeff Miller, I'm Brendan Gulick. Our coverage of Yellow Jacket men's lacrosse brings us right in front of the net. Everybody's scampering around looking for the ball, and some Bearcats are getting in there just to get a little aggressive. Finally saw a foul called. I think Trevor Howe, the senior defender, took offense to something in front of that because he just wanted to go hit somebody. He couldn't get away from our head official, Philip Nelson, who made the whistle. On errant pass, the ball rolls toward midfield. And the Yellow Jackets try to keep it. All right, instead goes to St. Vincent. Whistle blows, play quickly resumes. Povell gives it up. Working to the near side now, Hogaback. Ben Price.
Trying to stretch the defense again there so they can get the quick run down the alley and fire it in.
Frank Casile, the top scorer on the team, hasn't really gotten involved too much early on. Boy, Grieve and Dickey are all over that spot defensively. St. Vincent with the ball out front. Hunter Sharp wants to shoot with his right. Nicely denied. Thomas Mesh on the denial defensively. Ball was dropped but picked back up by Hogaback. Final 40 seconds of the first quarter. Again, it's loose. Hogaback shovels it over, and the Yellow Jackets pick it free.
Great defensive stand there by Dickey. He knocked the ball free and then flipped it towards, I think that's Jadzinski who picked it up, and here comes the Jackets forward in the offensive end.
Gilliam just wide left. Baldwin Wallace wasting little time along the way, trying to score while on the run. 18 seconds left in the first quarter as Brock Riemenschneider, the junior from Rocky River, holds behind the cage. Riemenschneider gives it to Houston, who throws it to the back of the cage. Beautiful assist and an excellent finish. With just 3 seconds left in the first quarter, Houston strikes again. 5-0 BW.
He has that quick fire with the left hand. You know his go-to right there. Quick, get him running down the left side, and he's going to fire it. And I don't even think the St. Vincent goalkeeper even saw it.
So Baldwin Wallace throws 5 goals on the board already in our first quarter. We are only 3 seconds away from having a break. There's the horn.
Fiorito won the faceoff and took 2 steps and fired. So there's the mentality that the Yellow Jackets, when they know what's on the clock, they need to quick fire and try to get another one in there when the team's not even thinking about it.
Jason Tarno's Yellow Jackets off to a good start. 5-0 after 1 here on BWYellowJackets.com. All right, back at Baldwin Wallace University, where the Yellow Jackets have had a really nice start to our game tonight. 5-0 lead over St. Vincent. Alongside Jeff Miller, I'm Brendan Gulick. BW with 5 consecutive wins, and they are hoping to find a 6th in a row before they hit conference play for the rest of the season. Teams switch sides, Jackets in white. The Bearcats from St. Vincent in Latrobe, Pennsylvania, they're in green. And our second quarter has started.
Another face-off win for Fiorito.
If you're joining us a little bit late, Baldwin Wallace's first goal came from Mike Nanoski. Then Chad Steinwalks and Judson Houston have traded goals to round out our scoring in the first quarter, the last of which came with just 3 seconds left in that opening frame.
26th unanswered goal going back to Saturday, because BW scored 21 straight in that win against Muskingum on Saturday.
Jackets find a crease. I think it was deflected into the net for the St. Vincent goalkeeper.
Connor McMillan's been tested early and often in this first half.
Meanwhile, the Jackets get the ball back. McMillan, one of the top keepers in the Ohio River Lacrosse Conference. He's done a really nice job this season, second, in fact, in the conference in goals against average. But the Bearcats at 1-5 on the year still have an uphill climb as they make their way toward conference play. A couple of subs for BW as the clock continues to wind. They've got on the far side of the field Alex Binner, ball in net. Denied for just a moment by Granville Wagner. Binner shimmies a defender, throws it into the keeper. Nice save.
Tough angle there for Binner, but then again, Steinwalks just drilled one earlier in the first half, the same kind of angle.
That was a tremendous goal from a nearly impossible spot on the field to score. Wagner had it jarred free over near the sideline. And it is BW ball. And nobody more excited about it than Jason Tarno himself, the head coach.
I think he almost made that call for the official. He was standing right there in his ear.
He certainly wasn't going to have it the other way. All right, controlling near side, Matt McDowell, the transfer from Ohio Wesleyan. He's from East Amherst, New York. A little miscommunication up top. Pass was thrown to Gerlach, and he wasn't really ready for it. But the ball goes to St. Vincent as it crossed back to the other side of the field.
Unforced error is going to drive the coaching staff a little crazy there on an errant pass.
Really well defended by Josiah Grieve. And it's the Yellow Jackets who have the ball back. Couple of quick passes lead to a wide shot. Not a bad idea. But Nanoski actually threw it behind the net. Looks like BW maintains possession, though. Far side, this has been Kubiak giving it up. Baldwin Wallace trying to continue this offensive surge they've had the last couple of games. Off to a good start with a 5-0 lead early in the second quarter. Gerlach, no opening. They reverse the side of the field. Kubiak. And he's pushed away. Good defense from Cooper Quinn, the freshman for St. Vincent. How did Riemenschneider find the back of the net? Unbelievable goal.
Had his defender sealed. Getting pushed away, just flipped it up and into the back of the top part of the cage, and somehow it dropped down past the line for the score. What a pretty play.
11th goal for Brock Riemenschneider. And Baldwin Wallace leads the game 6-0. They are dominating St. Vincent early on. That might have been more impressive than the one Steinwalks had earlier.
Both could be on the highlight film for the year.
And the ball will go to St. Vincent after the foul on the Yellow Jackets. Well, if nothing else, Baldwin Wallace trying to take advantage of the opportunities against some teams this year that have struggled before they were much of the Ohio Athletic Conference over the last couple of years. As the Yellow Jackets get the ball back, much of the conference the last couple of years has been pretty top-heavy. Otterbeins had a good program. BW and John Carroll have both competed well. Same thing with Mount Union. But outside of those four schools, everybody's still trying to grow their program. You would think Ohio Northern will probably become a pretty good program just because they usually have pretty strong programs within the OAC. Facilities are nice. They've got a lot of resources at their disposal from a recruiting standpoint.
It just was announced that Marietta is going to bring back lacrosse they had it in, I believe, in the men.
Riemenschneider strikes again. Great assist on the near side from Thomas Mesh, and the Jackets have a 7-0 lead.
That one wasn't as hard for Riemenschneider on that one. I think he just caught it, and he towers over McMillan, so he just bounced it right over him.
That one came just a minute and 16 seconds after his first of the game. Riemenschneider puts the team up 7-0.
Yeah, I was going to say, Marietta's bringing in lacrosse, so everybody in the Ohio Athletic Conference will have lacrosse by the 2018-19 season. That's when Marietta's going to bring back the program. So
Pioneers were the only school in the conference that did not have varsity lacrosse, but most of the schools have all added the sport within the last, I would say, 5 to 6 years. Yellow Jackets once again on the offensive end. It's been a tough day for Connor McMillan so far. Even though he goes to school in Western PA, he probably feels like he's almost playing a home game in terms of Division III schools. Baldwin Wallace is probably the closest D3 school to where he grew up in Medina, only about 25 minutes away. Low shot attempt just off the mark from Matt McDowell. John Carroll in this conference, in the OAC, Case Western Reserve in the UAA. Probably the other two D3 schools most close to Medina. And of course, Columbus area schools are not terribly far away, but probably feels like a little bit of a home game for him.
Playing with a former teammate, against a former teammate in Nanoski, so a little bit of a homecoming. I was kind of strange when you're walking around Finney Stadium and you see opponents from schools that aren't really nearby, that they're traveling here during the middle of the week, and then you realize there's kids from the area, so that's why they get the opportunity to come see their children play when they're nearby.
Well, a lot of the local high school lacrosse programs are really starting to kind of blossom, I guess is probably the best way to say it. Both on the men's and women's side, Jason Tarnow and Kim Russell have both been very complimentary of what they've seen from greater Cleveland area high school lacrosse programs as the sport continues to make its way into the Midwest. Jackets on a quick attack. John Mays, the sophomore midfielder, gives it near side now. And Nanoski wants to shoot on the run. And it somehow slipped in.
Slipped it through the 5-hole there, huh? Through the keeper, McMillan. McMillan thought he had it blocked, and then it rolled underneath him. Unfortunate there for McMillan, but great shot by Nanoski.
His 10th goal of the season and second of the game. 8:06 left here in the second quarter. And right now it is all Baldwin Wallace, 8-0. In fact, St. Vincent has only had one shot on goal in the last 10-plus minutes. I beg your pardon, 8-plus minutes.
And other action around the conference. Good rebound from Muskingum today. They pull off a 12-11 win against Bethany. So getting beat as bad as he did here on Saturday, you come back and win a tight one against Bethany and probably their non-conference finale too.
Yeah, you got to have a short memory. That's obviously nobody wants to lose a game 24-1. The foul is committed by Baldwin Wallace on the far side, so St. Vincent possesses. And now a flag comes flying in. All right, we'll wait for the possession to be over. Sharp takes a shot. Deflects off of one of the Jacket defenders away. Still possessed by the green and gold Bearcats. Nice elusive move, but the ball was jarred free as Alex Muser couldn't maintain possession. And the penalty goes against Baldwin Wallace. Hard to tell from this far what the penalty was. We'll let you know as soon as it pops up on our live stats feed here. Of course, you can follow live stats along with us, bwyellowjackets.com. If you're watching the live video only stream, just flip on over and check out the video and live stats page. 7:19 left in the second quarter. The Jackets out front by a lot. Behind the net, Jeremy Kennedy to the middle. Muser. Far side, Price lets it go. Back to Muser, who puts one toward the cage. No good. The rebound put back, and it's deflected away. Tremendous goaltending by Baldwin Wallace's sophomore Nate Karatis.
That second shot on him, he just got enough of the stick on it and his body to flip it back over the cage, and here comes the Jackets on the offensive end.
Raymond Schneider looking for a hat trick. By the way, the penalty on Brian Musial was for a delay of game. It was a 30-second penalty that's now concluded. Raymond Schneider throws it over the back of the cage instead of taking a shot. Instead, this one hits the post. Pops away after Griffin Dunkel, the freshman, nearly threaded the needle.
That hit right off the bar and back out all the way to the defensive end, so you knew he had some heat on that one.
Some of these shots are coming in with such incredible velocity. And honestly, the ability to be so accurate, especially while on the run, that some of these guys are throwing the ball on net with. It's pretty entertaining. 5:48 left here in our second quarter. Jackets by 8. First time we've seen senior James Wilhelm, a St. Ignatius High School product. He's in there in the middle, and Jed Steinwalks has yet another. Steinwalks with his third. It's 9-0.
I'll keep saying it. It's a repeat of what I keep saying every time, but every time the ball is anywhere near these Jacket offenders, they're quick. Steinwalks got that ball off the ground and fired it. So no chance for the Bearcats to set up a defense or their goalkeeper to even think it's coming. They're so quick to fire that it's already gone before you even think about it.
Nanoski gets credit for the assist on the Steinwalks goal right after it came out of James Wilhelm's stick. Picked up by Baldwin Wallace again. It's Cole McClary, the sophomore from Perrysburg, who helped win the faceoff, but St. Vincent has the ball. Good giveaway by Michael Gruss. All right, if you're St. Vincent, you got to try to have a short memory here. Baldwin Wallace 3-7. Obviously, the scoreboard is lopsided, but if you're St. Vincent, you've got to just try to take one opportunity at a time and not really worry about what's on the scoreboard right now. There's still a lot of game in front of us. More than half an hour, in fact.
I mean, they've had more shots on goal in the last minute and 30 seconds, so they got to just take that away. Like you said, forget it and go.
Gruss comes out of the game, and instead Frank Casillo will move up into the offensive end. Casillo slings it near side. Zach Novelli, a freshman, getting a chance. Lobs it over. Hogaback. Back to Caselli. Top of the formation, Hunter Sharp. Too high over the head of everybody. And Baldwin Wallace takes it.
Pulled off a 10-6 win in their first win of the year against Wabash last Saturday, in their last outing. So it's not that they don't have the ability to score. It's just right now the BW defense is continuing what they do and what they excel at.
I don't think you can understate either how impressive the goaltending has been for Nate Karatis. Now, he hasn't been overly tested, but nevertheless, first start of the season, he's got a goose egg on the scoreboard right now. Baldwin Wallace doing their part right now on top, 9-0 in the final 3.5 minutes of our first half. Raymond Schneider trying to protect the ball. Nice interception. Trevor Howe, the senior defender, stuck his net up there. Then Raymond Schneider helped jar it loose. It's controlled by Steinwalks. Kubiak. Back to Steinwalks. Knocked off his centering. Nanoski gives to the top. Houston. With the left side. Fires and scores.
Just a little stop, which compared to the crossover in basketball, he crossed them over, turned back around, and there he went firing away. And the BW bench is having a little fun. I guess Division I basketball, Monmouth has nothing on the Yellow Jackets bench now with the, I guess that was a boat. I don't know what you want to call that one. So I think they were in a boat and they were, I don't know if they were rowing or screaming or what.
Sophomore Judson Houston with a hat trick, his third of the game. 2:58 left in our first half, and Baldwin Wallace leads the game 10-0. Might they add to it?
Fiorito doing what he does best. Wins another faceoff and takes it all the way in the offensive end. Now looking to get out of the way so the guys can sub in and go for the offensive attack. And there he goes.
On the far side. Not there.
McMillan cut off the near post for that one. I think he's finally realized where he's got to get some position on how quick the Yellow Jackets fire.
2:10 left in the second quarter. Baldwin Wallace with a 10 spot on the board after winning their last game 24-1. Hard foul from behind. Jarred the ball loose, and St. Vincent has it. On the quick restart, Kennedy lost possession, and Baldwin Wallace, goalkeeper, picks it up. Nice job.
And clear attempt again is good for the Yellow Jackets.
Well, it would be hard to pick apart something that BW has done poorly in the first half. Although I'm quite sure Jason Tarnow will challenge his young men at halftime.
I was just about to say that. We probably don't think there's anything wrong, and they probably think the entire game is wrong, even being up 10-0. So I know being around coaches in every sport here at BW, they find something that isn't right even when things are going well. Keep them on their toes so they keep firing and going well.
Well, that one certainly went well. And into the back of the net for Mike Nanoski. 11-0 BW. Nanoski with his third of the game.
Came from behind the cage, about the 20-yard line here on the football field, and just let it rip and took it over the top of over McMillan and to the back of the cage. With that, St. Vincent's going to take a quick timeout here with 1:09 left to go in the first half. Brendan, they have not scored since the 10-minute mark of the fourth quarter of their last game.
Well, obviously there's been some frustration for them on the offensive side, but you know, I think you got to give some credit to what BW's done defensively. They've really packed in the middle and just not given a lot of room to get clean shots off. Been only 7 shots on goal the whole game for St. Vincent, and it's just been a challenging day to say the least.
Yeah. When you got 7 shots on you and 4 of them are only on net to give Carradas his 4 saves, things aren't rolling that well for you when the defense is playing that great.
Well, it's certainly nice that Baldwin Wallace is playing well here in the middle of the season, but they've got much bigger goals in mind. This is a team that has their eyes set on an OAC championship, not just appearance, but they want to be able to bring back some hardware and compete in the NCAA playoffs here in the postseason.
They want to add to the banner that's in Ersprung Gymnasium that says regular season champion last year, but they want it this year by themselves, not a share with that team across town. They want it all right to themselves. And the last home game of the year here, you're gonna see a very good game against Otterbein, because that's the team they want to get revenge against, because they knocked them out of the OAC tournament last year in the semifinals in a very good game. So that's the one that's probably been penciled in on the schedule for Jason Tarnow and the Yellow Jackets all year. Is Otterbein is the team that they want to go after to avenge their loss in the semifinals last year.
You know, there's no doubt that Otterbein and John Carroll are the 2 biggest games remaining on the schedule, and that's not to downplay anybody else in the OAC. Coach Tarnow knows that his team's got to go out there and take care of business. 47 seconds, by the way, left here in our first half. Baldwin Wallace does have possession. But let's focus on the here and now. The fact that BW has scored 35 goals in 2 games and nearly completed a terrific pass there, more than half the length of the field. Great to see the offense is clicking. If nothing else, it's just getting guys to a certain confidence level as the season progresses.
And we can go back to it. It starts from the back and moves it up front. So if you're only giving up, 1 goal in the last 75 minutes, I mean, that's where it all starts with this team.
Top scoring defense in the country the last 2 years. But finally one goes in for St. Vincent. Tough play, and they kind of squeak around the defense. Thrown in there by freshman Ben Price. That's his 6th goal of the year. So it snaps a tough stretch, and it comes with just 3 seconds left in the first half.
Kind of similar to Saturday, but not at the point that we scored 11 straight. It was a 12-1 halftime lead on Saturday, and the Yellow Jackets scored 12 more goals in the second half. So we'll see what happens the remainder of this game.
So we've reached halftime. Ben Price's goal 3 seconds ago. Basically takes the perfect first half away from Baldwin Wallace. The Jackets lead 11-1. 3 different players have scored 3 goals. Chad Steinwalks, Judson Houston, and Mike Nanoski. The other 2 goals coming from Brock Riemann-Schneider. And it's Baldwin Wallace 11, St. Vincent 1. We'll pause during halftime, come back in about 10 minutes as the second half gets underway in Baldwin Wallace. Back at Tressel Field at George Finnie Stadium on Baldwin Wallace's campus. We're just about to start the third quarter tonight as Baldwin Wallace and St. Vincent continue what has been right now a one-sided affair. BW on top 11-1 thanks to a goal that came with just a couple of seconds left on the clock, or else it would have been a shutout in the first half. Brendan Gulick and Jeff Miller alongside. It's been a fun game for BW. It's really been a fun couple of weeks for the Jackets, who are 5-1 and playing incredibly well. They had 4 players score their 11 goals in the first half, 3 of them with hat tricks. And how about with 12 seconds having ticked off in the second half, Mike Nanoski zips one past the keeper. 12-1 BW.
Can't say it as enough as I keep repeating myself. Boom. That, you look up, it's in the back of the cage. So pretty impressive start right again. Nanatsky scored within the first minute of the game, and 12 seconds into the second half, here he is again, starting things off.
So Nanoski scored 1 in the first period, scored 2 in that third quarter, and now has a 4th here in quarter number 3. BW once again on the offensive after stealing the ball away. This time taken free by Alex Uhas, the junior from Lancaster, New York. It's been a nice first half, especially in net for sophomore Nate Karatis, who will once again go out there as the goaltender. Jackets give it up in front of the net. Loose and picked up. Nicely done defensively by Granville Wagner. Racing up the field and giving it away. This is Hogeback. Behind the cage, the Bearcats working around. St. Vincent in green, Baldwin Wallace in white. Near side, Zach Novelli. Gives it up top. We've seen Alex Muser try to initiate some of the offense a few times as Josiah Grieve really clamps down defensively far side. Novelli gives it free. Hunter Sharp trying to slip past the defense. Didn't have an open look, so he gave it up. Frank Casile lost his stick and the ball, and that jazzes up the Jacket bench. BW racing up the far side of the field, and the Yellow Jackets, with some momentum, take the ball back. Brian Jedzinski gave it away. BW aligning things. Still on the offensive end. Gerlach to the far side. Kubiak. Nice closure defensively. Gerlach to the near side. Judson Houston already with 3 goals in the game. Kind of got hooked around a little bit, but maintained possession. Give it to the far side. Gerlach just can't find any room. Kubiak pushed away a bit. Under 12 minutes to go, third quarter. BW up 12-1.
Looking to be the only, the second conference school, possibly third, to win in their non-conference games tonight. Wabash is leading Wilmington 8-4 in the start of the second half. Otterbeins on top of Worcester 6-5. They've been on like a 5-1 run there to close out the first half. And then Heidelberg, in the first year of their program, trailing Trine 3-1.
Jackets lost the ball, but Steinwalks picks it back up. 3-goal game for him so far. Houston zips it just over to the far side, where it is scooped up cleanly by freshman Brandon Martin, who is now in goal. So Connor McMillan no longer between the pipes. Jackets have it top of the formation, Jack Gerlach. Looking around, waiting for a couple subs to run on and off. BW just kind of hanging out with 10:24 left third quarter. Gerlach will initiate momentarily. Everybody set. Here he comes. This little screen up top. Benner gives it free. Houston, big kid, really wants to rifle one home. Instead, finds Steinwalks, who threw it over the top of the net. And it will stay with Baldwin Wallace, who was closest to it as it ran out of bounds. Clock continues to wind under 10 minutes now, third quarter. Pass over the top of the defense. Fiorito gave it up. Actually, beg your pardon, I think that's Gerlach on that far side. Shot deflected, not a bad shot though from Nanoski. Still loose behind the cage. Up into the air, and St. Vincent has it. Although they lost possession. Steinwalks tried to slip one just past. Still BW ball. Baldwin Wallace here in the third quarter. Maybe he hasn't scored with the same frequency we saw in the first half. But they sure have kept it on the offensive end quite a bit over the last several minutes. No room whatsoever for St. Vincent. They're just kind of playing on their heels.
It's not about a sense of urgency here for the Yellow Jackets to score, and being Coach Tarno, not really trying to run it up on anyone. You know, it can't happen when you're not going to tell a student athlete not to fire one in, but you know, so they're just going to take their time, look for it, and then just give the opportunity. So it's not. They're not shooting as frequently, but they're possessing the ball in the offensive end and just looking for that prime opportunity.
Well, that clock continues to dwindle. That's the worst thing St. Vincent can have right now, as Steinwalks tried to pass it away. Nicely picked up there in goal by Brandon Martin. All right, so St. Vincent finally possesses the ball back again. And a miscommunication gives it right back to the Yellow Jackets. John Mays. To the near side, Steinwalks slings it home. No chance to stop that one, his fourth of the game.
That's pretty much like what he would consider getting thrown right into the possession for, running right into the pass here on the football field. He just got that ball and just swung it right in. So beautiful play there by the offensive attack again for the Yellow Jackets. The defense looks like they're ready for somebody to come down there, so they haven't seen him at all, I don't think, in this second half at all to start. So Grieve and Dickey and Jadzansky are all waiting there for here it comes. They're going to get their opportunity.
Maybe. Or maybe not. They might touch the ball once or twice and make their way down. I think there's a lot that goes into BW's defensive success this year. But some of it, Jeff, might be the fact that when you build big leads against teams, you've found ways to, just hold the ball and possess it and run some clock. So goalkeeper there, Nate Karatis, coming to the offensive half of the field, and another goal. Big time shot. Baldwin Wallace strikes yet again. That time looked like it came from Jacob Jackson. BW on top, 14-1. $7:16 left to go in the third quarter. Actually, they're giving the goal to Thomas Mesh. Okay, it was 35 instead of 15. I apologize. was trying to figure out why Jackson, a defender, would be up there. So Mesh's first of the game. And that's his first goal of the whole season. Congratulations to him.
A lot of opportunities now in games like this that people are going to see the field, get scoring opportunities that they normally wouldn't get in a tight game. So big games give other people opportunities as well, too. So good opportunity here for some of these guys that don't actually see a lot of playing time to show what they have and get some playing time.
Behind the net, Raymond Schneider. He's had a great game already. Looking for another. Martin defends it away. Picked up by the Bearcats near midfield. Onto the offensive end now where Novelli comes on the attack. Quick shot right into the keeper's net.
Not even phased his Karadas there. That ball was rocketed in at him, and he just caught it with his stick, and here they go the other way.
That was the first shot on goal the entire third quarter for St. Vincent. And we've essentially been playing with a running clock. Not entirely, but for the most part. And you're right, Michael Dickey, Brian Jedzinski, Josiah Grieve haven't had to work too hard since the halftime intermission.
I think if you interviewed Michael again, you're going to have to ask him, you're pumped to play in this game. You didn't do much. Being a guy that used to work for me, I can say stuff like that to him. He's a good kid, so.
He would probably be just fine with that, given the results on the scoreboard. He's happy with a win and happy to see that his team's only given up one goal over the last 35 minutes of action. In fact, it's been 40 minutes, actually.
Yeah, defense has given up only 2 goals in the last 2 games. That's pretty impressive.
Nearly went home on the far side. It bounced off the turf, deflected up off the high post, and came away. No good. But the Jackets still have it in what has felt like a one-sided second half. Shot was missed on the far side by Gilliam. From behind, a little wide, and a high flag comes flying in. See who the penalty's on.
That was a bad collision down there because one of the lot of hitting going down there that resulted in a player on his knees. Hopefully everything's okay.
Well, the officials are discussing things. We still don't have a call yet.
Let's while we're talking about what the call is and potential injury down here. Last 2 games, Yellow Jackets 81 shots against Muskingum. They have 37 so far in this game. 23 of them have been on goal.
Everybody down on one knee while one of the Bearcats receives medical attention. And while he is actually laying on his back at the moment, hard to tell for certain who it is. See as he gets up. That is number 47, sophomore Luke Falvo. And he seems to be favoring his right leg a little bit as his teammates help him off the field. Somebody's going to need to grab his gear.
Favoring it, but he's trying to walk his best. He is walking, so it's not. Hopefully that's a good sign for the Bearcat faithful that he's not too seriously hurt and maybe just a quick tweak of an ankle or, I'm not a doctor up here, or athletic trainer, so we'll hope for the best because he's not putting all of his weight on, but he's got some weight on it.
The penalty is on St. Vincent's Michael Gruss. Illegal body check. It's a 1-minute penalty and an extra man opportunity for the Yellow Jackets. Every goal in this game has actually come at even strength. We'll see how BW chooses to go at it here. 4:27 left third quarter. Baldwin Wallace up 14-1. A lot of passing around the exterior. Hayes gave it up. Shot coming. It's deflected away. Stays with the men in white. To the top, Nanoski. Near side, Binner to Steinwalks and had it deflected. Then it trickles into the net off a deflection. The goal is given to Joey Brisky, the senior from Pittsburgh.
Steinwalks almost had another angle shot that just off the keeper, rolling around in the crease there. And Brisky just got a stick on it and pushed it in enough to get his goal.
4:02 left in the third quarter. Brisky's goal, his second of the year. 15-1, Baldwin Wallace on top. Again, St. Vincent's only goal came with 3 seconds left before halftime. Jackets trying for a quick strike. Steinwalks near side. Fiorito gave it up. And now let's run some clock time.
Even in a tight game like this, Caradas, not a tight game, but a tight game for the defensive end there, Caradas has set a career high in saves with 5. I mean, got some limited action in the second half against Muskingum, so his 0 goals allowed is going to be something he's going to have a hard time to not allow again to tie in a full-length game, but still he almost had it there until 3 seconds left in the first half.
High shot came just a little bit over the top of the net there from Riley Mann, the freshman from Illinois. BW still has it. Steinwalks nearly put it in. It deflects off the post and goes high up into the air.
I think that actually went off the goalkeeper's helmet.
Did it really?
So, yeah, from this angle, it looked like he went right off his helmet, so otherwise it probably was going to sneak another one in.
Mann tried to slip it on the bounce in between the keeper's legs, and he almost did it successfully. (15-1), BW on top with 2:45 left. Now under totally dark skies in Northeast Ohio. If you joined us a little bit late, you have missed a lot of offense from the host Yellow Jackets, who at 5-1 have not lost to a Division III opponent this year. They have won 5 games in a row since dropping the season opener to Division I Cleveland State. The St. Vincent team won their first game in their most recent contest. They're 1-5 coming in, and they've kind of taken one on the chin tonight. That shot was bounced a little wide by Frank Casile, the freshman. Casile's had a good year, but I think the Jackets have done a nice job taking him out of the equation so far tonight. Casile and company work the ball behind the net. Hoga back, gives near side now. Joe Pavol.
And the lone loss to Cleveland State in a new program for a Division I school. They're 0-7 against Division I opponents. They're 3-0 against Division III opponents. They beat BW and John Carroll in that opening weekend. Well, not their opening weekend, but the opening weekend for Division III. And then they've gone on to only beat Wittenberg. That's the only 3 schools they've beaten, and each Division II school has given them a tough time too. So nothing to hang your hat on being 5-1 and your only losses to a Division I program.
Not to mention that's a Division I program at Cleveland State that competed really well against Duke and Michigan in their first 2 games as a program. An open look in front of the net, and it slips in. Grieve frustrated with himself that he let Ben Price, the freshman, get into a better spot right in front of the net. And Price finishes. It's actually his second goal of the game. And once again, St. Vincent gets one in. 1 minute to go, third quarter.
BW 15, Price 2. And he likes late quarter drama there, and with a minute left again. So
Price's 7th goal of the year. Face off, knocked toward the defensive end for BW, and it's picked up. Handled by Hunter Lute, freshman from New Canton. Lute up the far side with a pass. Still BW ball. Imagine that Jack Gerlach will try to run out most of the remaining time here in the third quarter on the offensive end. Just 27 seconds left in this third period. Kubiak lifts one to the top. Judson Houston thought he had a sliver of hope. Didn't work out. Riemenschneider picks it up, though. 10 seconds, third quarter. Riemenschneider checks the clock, but he lost the ball as he tried to cradle it. Just 3 seconds left in this third period. Picked up by St. Vincent, and there will not be any more scoring for several more minutes. Baldwin Wallace, 15. St. Vincent, 2. A lower scoring third quarter, but still heavily favoring the Yellow Jackets. Fourth quarter action comes your way next on BWYellowJackets.com. On to the fourth quarter, where the Yellow Jackets have a commanding 15-2 lead over the Bearcats from St. Vincent. Brendan Gulick and Jeff Miller with you. Get an early fourth quarter flag, and as the ball rolls out of bounds, we're going to see what that penalty is for as it goes back to BW.
And their 15th face-off win for Fioredo today.
By the way, the Yellow Jackets have a new goalkeeper. Freshman Connor Leylime from Buffalo, New York is now in net. There is also a new keeper for St. Vincent. That's Kevin Tregoning, a freshman from Silver Spring, Maryland, which is just outside of Washington, D.C.
I was waiting for the geography lesson from the guy that lived in the Baltimore, Washington, D.C. area last year.
Actually, ironically, we talked about Salisbury earlier. I was in Salisbury itself, which is about 2 hours outside of Baltimore and D.C., but Maryland's not that big of a state. But Silver Spring is just over by College Park, which is, of course, where the Terrapins are calling home. College Park, Maryland, the University of Maryland in the Big Ten. Pretty good at lacrosse.
And home to a BW alumnus and an athletic trainer.
And who's that? Back on the offensive end for St. Vincent, and they strike quickly.
Matt Sharvett. I wanted to hold. You always try to give me questions at who is stumping, so I just stumped myself for a few minutes, and it's actually Matt Sharvett. He actually works with the Terrapin basketball team, so.
I think it was Granville Wagner. I'll let you know in a minute who scored for St. Vincent.
Actually, BW scored.
I beg your pardon. Granville Wagner was right over there. You're right. It was a BW goal. It made it 16-2.
I threw us all off with the stump Matt Sharvett comment.
Look at me. You were about to say something. He just never said his name. I didn't know where you were going with it.
I just left it. I wanted to see what you were going to do with it.
Oh, I clearly had no idea where you were at. All right.
Back to
the goal is by Jared Gilliam, and it came a man down, his first of the season. So the Yellow Jackets, right away off that penalty, make good. How about the fact the Yellow Jackets have 3 different players today that have a hat trick? In fact, 2 of those players, Nanoski and Steinwalks, have scored 4 times each. Brock Riemenschneider, who I almost called by his brother's name, Luke, Riemenschneider scored a couple of times in the early second quarter.
Be all right if you called him Luke, because Luke was a pretty darn good lacrosse player here too. So
both of them outstanding lacrosse players, and Luke also played football under then head coach John Snell. 13:28 left in the fourth quarter. Jackets have possession of the ball. Nice pass up the length of the field. It's a lot harder than it looks. Cole McClary received it. Shuffles it back for a moment after Novelli officially gets credited with the turnover. Much of Steinwalk's offensive prowess today has come from playing behind the cage and wrapping around, including an early game goal that was a highlight reel goal we'll see all season long. Riemenschneider had a couple of those too. Those two guys have been particularly fun to watch. But I think you're starting to see why BW is as talented as they are. Their depth, pretty impressive. Binner dumps it underneath. Riemenschneider tried to shove it down bottom right. Off target.
A lot of new faces now on the field for the Yellow Jackets. Riemenschneider is probably the lone key player that's still out there.
Well, that one I believe went in. They hadn't signaled, and now it is in. John Mays, I believe, credits with the goal. Just snuck it underneath Tregoning's stick.
Looked like the officials, the players for St. Vincent couldn't find it. It was stuck in the netting there. So the Yellow Jackets thought it was a goal. They knew where it was, but the St. Vincent players and the official had to come find it.
Second goal of the year for Mays. And a second consecutive rout continues as Baldwin Wallace leads the game 17-2. Just about 8:30 here local time in a game that started an hour and a half ago. In the second half, we've seen a lot of clock running because BW offensively has been a little bit less aggressive. That doesn't mean they haven't scored, but just to give you an idea, 11 first half goals, 6 of them came in the second quarter. Well, they've scored 6 times in the second half. John Mays officially credited with his second goal.
And for the Bearcats, this is the most goals allowed on the season. Previously was 14 on 2 different occasions.
Well, and I think they knew when they scheduled BW after the year that the Jackets had last season that this was going to be a tough road game for them and one where they were really going to have to test themselves. That ball is picked up and controlled by St. Vincent. How quickly can they counterattack? Casile gave it up. Now near side Pavel. Pavel feeds it forward a little bit. Ben Price behind the net. 11-11 left in the fourth quarter clock. BW by 15 at 17-2. Pavel at the point. Goes to his right. Shoots, and it's deflected away. Nicely done by Connor Leylime, the freshman who is in there basically for the fourth quarter here.
That was a nice save there by Leylime. He got his stick and the foot, his leg on it to knock it far away.
What a defensive play reaching around by Brian Musial. Somehow got a stick on that ball, and now the Yellow Jackets flying up the field. A shot and a save, and a big-time shot from Thomas Mesh, who was looking for his second of the game. Good job defending there by freshman keeper Kevin Tregoning.
Something we haven't seen all game from the Bearcats, a quick attack, return the other way, and unfortunately the Yellow Jackets got back there and cut them off.
Well, in some regard, for St. Vincent's sake, why not? You've really got nothing to lose by trying to change the tempo a little bit. On the defensive side, Brian Janzinski is still in there, but we haven't seen Josiah Grieve, who had spent basically the entire first 3 quarters out there defensively. And I'm pretty sure I don't see Dickey out on the field at the moment.
He's back behind the cage right now. The only change I looked like to me was number 31, Jake Mostyn, is now out there replacing Grieve.
Mostyn, a sophomore midfielder, but he's playing back on the defensive end. Good, tough D there, especially from a high-scoring area. 9:42 and counting in the fourth. Mostyn helped defend that. And it goes back on the foul to Baldwin Wallace.
Not somebody I would like to see in the defensive end checking me in Brock Riemenschneider. He's a big boy back there. I mean, he's now, they moved him back just here to give some other guys a chance up front, and that's a big hit that he laid out there, but he's now back off the field.
Well, admittedly, I didn't see what happened there, but Baldwin Wallace gave possession back. So St. Vincent once again on the offensive. Down by 15, though, with 9 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. They're just trying to string some things together here you can feel good about before they go into their next contest. Tough shot. A couple guys got in the way. In fact, I think Mostyn may have stepped in front. That next contest is an Ohio River Lacrosse Conference affair against Mount St. Joe's. They'll play in Cincinnati. And then to Washington and Jefferson in Western PA.
Yeah, the Ohio River Lacrosse Conference seems to me pretty much comprised of teams out of the PAC, the Heartland, and the PAC, Heartland, and who am I missing there? Maybe it is just the PAC and the Heartland.
I say it's just the PAC and the Heartland, is it not?
Yeah, the PAC and the Heartland. I was trying to figure because Hanover, thought Hanover was in a different conference.
Yeah. The 8 schools: Bethany, Hanover, Mount St. Joe's, St. Vincent, Teal, Transylvania, W&J, and Westminster.
Yes. Yeah, so it's
so it's those two schools, or those two conferences,
which do not offer
lacrosse programs. Right. So you make one big conference for lacrosse, and of course that's on the men's side. On the ladies' side, there are other schools: Franklin, Hanover, Mount St. Joe's, St. Vincent, Teal, Thomas More, Transylvania, W&J, Waynesburg, and Westminster all play women's lacrosse in the ORLC. But again, the same conferences are represented. Just Franklin, for instance, does not have men's lacrosse, and same story with Thomas More, which is down in Crestview Hills, Kentucky, not too far from Cincinnati.
Not something that's unheard of in Division III athletics, because Transylvania and Manchester are part of the Ohio Athletic Conference in swimming, because the Heartland doesn't offer swimming as a collegiate conference sport.
I can't understand why they wouldn't want to go compete in the NCAC. Anyone who voluntarily would want to go compete in the NCAC in swimming is gutsy. Is that safe?
Gutsy is good to say. When you have Kenyon and Denison, who have won the Division III national title. Kenyon ran it off 27 straight years, and Denison then broke their streak, won it like 5 straight, and I think Kenyon won it again this year.
Well, Kenyon and Denison have facilities for swimming and diving that most Division I schools wish they had. If you have any interest at all in that kind of thing, just go online and check it out. What Denison and Kenyon have done from a swimming and diving perspective is literally hard to comprehend. Meanwhile, back on the lacrosse field, Hunter Lute lost possession, turned it over. We see a flag come flying in there.
He lost his stick, his glove, and the ball, but that was part of the foul.
Ball resting near midfield.
The penalty's going against Hunter Lute of the Yellow Jackets.
Tough sequence for him. He turns the ball over, then commits a penalty. Michael Sterling gets credit for causing the turnover for St. Vincent. Under 8 minutes to go in the game. Bearcats looking for what would be their 3rd goal of the game, and heck, if Price scores it, he'd have a hat trick. Well, at the moment, I don't see Price on the offensive end. Given up from behind the net. Mitchell Bachman, a freshman from Butler, PA, is part of the rotation now. This is Bachman with the ball. Good find. Pavel back to Bachman. To the point, Wetzel.
And BW made a whole defensive change. Even the goalkeeper, Austin Peppo, is now playing in net, and the whole defensive line is completely different.
This is the third game of the year for Austin Peppo. Made one, or I should say he's only given up one goal. Made 4 saves so far. He's faced 7 total shots. But he has logged the least number of minutes. Leyline and Peppo splitting the fourth quarter. Nate Karatis played the entire first half and third quarter. Mike DeZono had the day off.
Yeah, on the defense now you got Liam Oberst. Looks like Jacob Swank. And Jake Mostyn stays out there with the 2 new guys.
Under 7 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Baldwin Wallace by 15 after winning over Muskingum 24-1 on Saturday. They lead here 17-2. A chance here. A stop for a moment. Still loose. Justin Pursuti couldn't put it home initially. Pursuti picks it back up. Looking and scores. How did Pursuti flip that one over the entire defense?
Well, his initial shot went right off the goalkeeper's face mask, got it back into traffic, kind of was off balance, and just threw it, and it went into the upper left corner of the net, upper right corner, excuse me.
Pursuti scores for the second time this season with 6:28 left in the game. So Justin Pursuti makes it an 18-2 contest. And to think that this fourth quarter is still the lowest scoring quarter for BW offensively so far in this game. They led 5-0 after one, 11-1 at halftime. It was 11-0 until just 3 seconds left in that second quarter. BW with 4 more goals in the third quarter. They led 15-2 after 3 and now 18-2 with 5 minutes and change left in regulation. St. Vincent with the ball. A little losing of the balance, but Stone Harborstroh gets back up.
Little turf monster there, got him.
The attacker from Pennsylvania. Sharp gave it free. Behind the net for just a moment. Back to Sharp. Controlled at the point by Ian Irvin. Passing in traffic, gave it up. Baldwin Wallace with the ball. Jacob Swank, the sophomore defender, pushes it to the offensive end where Pursuti picks it up. To the top now in Corey Griffith. Under 5 minutes to go. Yellow Jackets on their way to a 6th win in a row, and they will stay undefeated against Division III opponents. The rest of this game feels like just window dressing. Wilhelm had a nice pass that led to a goal earlier in the game, but did not get credit for an assist. He was early in that sequence. Quick shot from off to the left. No good, but picked up by Pursuti and the Jackets.
Couple more changes in the deep.
Well, a second one comes in as Griffin Dunkel missed the first one, and then the second one found the bottom of the net.
I was just going to say there's some more changes going on for the Yellow Jackets on the defensive end, but Dunkel just buries that one for the 19th goal for the Yellow Jackets. In the defensive end now are a pair of juniors in number 27, Chad Rice, and number 77, Taylor Sharman. Rice is from Hilliard, and he went to Davidson High School. And Sharman is from Lancaster, New York, and went to Canisius.
Dunkel with his third goal of the season. 19-2 BW with just over 4 minutes remaining in the game. A reminder that we'll have our broadcast of women's lacrosse on Saturday when Wilmington comes to town. Heidelberg will be here after that. The men return home with big games against Capital and John Carroll. Those are April 8th and the 12th. Of course, the final 2 home games of the season for BW are against, as we mentioned, John Carroll and Otterbein. And then the Jackets close the regular season at Mount Union before the OAC tournament starts in late April and goes into early May. Pursuti again! A 20th goal for BW.
If I'm not mistaken, too, with the OAC tournament, it's the first week of, I think it is May. I think they both play on Tuesday, which would be May. Let me look here. May 2nd would be the semifinals, or no, May 3rd, the Wednesday, is the semifinals, and May 6th, the Saturday.
So April 26th, Wednesday, is the last game of the regular season for the men. They play at Mount Union, and then the tournament the following week. So Pursuti with 2 goals here over the last 3.5 minutes. BW 20, St. Vincent 2. Back-to-back 20-goal performances by the Yellow Jackets. They are really starting to kick things into gear, and you have to think that Jason Tarno's group feels good about where they are going into the OAC. They'll be 6-1 by the day's end. Nobody in the conference is undefeated, but BW, the only team with 1 loss on their ledger, they'll be at the top of the pack as conference play really heats up starting this weekend. It was well defended on the near side. Joe Cudahy, the junior who checked in recently.
And the Yellow Jackets have the potential to make it 3 straight 20-goal games, because Wilmington, going into their game tonight against Wabash, a non-conference opponent, has only won 2 games.
Ball being pinballed around all over the place, and finally Baldwin Wallace has possession. Peppo had it inside the blue circle, so he couldn't be hit. 2:25 and counting, you're right. Can you imagine what it would be like for the Yellow Jackets to put 20 goals on the board 3 games in a row, on top of being one of the top scoring teams defensively? I have to imagine you'd probably start seeing them rise up the charts across the country on the offensive ranks too. Again, fair to say that maybe the strength of schedule for BW hasn't quite been all that high. Not much you can do about that when you schedule teams sometimes as far as 2 years out. Hard to really project what you're going to see. You just try to play teams that have good programs and are in your region. Another chance maybe for a late game goal. Pursuti wants a hat trick, not on the first shot. Still loose on the turf. Still not picked up. Boy, it looked like Riley Morse was going to have it, and then somebody stepped on it. Now foul called, and it goes to the Bearcats. Just a minute and a half left in our game. Baldwin Wallace cruising to a win, one that was never in doubt. They scored 1 minute and 26 seconds into the game when Mike Nanoski ripped one in there for his 9th goal of the year. And that opened the floodgates. Chad Steinwalks has scored 4 times. Nanoski with 4 goals. 3 for Houston and 2 for Riemenschneider. Pursuti with 2. And a whole bunch of other players have chipped in as well. Ben Price, the freshman, with the only 2 goals for St. Vincent.
Houston gets the game winner. Here it is, 6:03 of the first quarter. Under a minute left here in Finnie Stadium.
So the Jackets are going to go to 6-1. St. Vincent will fall to 1-6. For good measure, denied. Nicely done in net. Still loose out there and finally picked up by St. V's. It's pretty well done. Tregoning kind of trying to hold his ground. He's given up 5 goals here in the 4th quarter with just 40 seconds left.
I wanted to say I'm glad Peppo has the lettuce that he does. Otherwise, I would not have known about the change either. A lot of these guys have some good lettuce out here, but
Another one that goes out of bounds behind the cage with 26 seconds remaining. Hey, you know what? You can wear your hair however you want when you put 20 goals on the board, at least in my book. Nicely defended. Joe Pavel.
I think this is a lacrosse thing anyway. You know, the linebackers came, and I think they followed the lacrosse players with the long hair.
Final seconds of the game. Baldwin Wallace with a dominating win for the second game in a row. The Yellow Jackets 20 and the Bearcats from St. Vincent 2. Everybody runs over and thanks the men in net. And again, it was a collective effort tonight. All 4 goalkeepers got in the game, or I should say, check that. All 3 keepers that were scheduled to play tonight got in. Karatis with a great job in the first half and third quarter. Connor Laylime and Austin Peppo in the fourth quarter get it done. BW 20, St. Vincent 2, our final score here tonight. Again, the Jackets go to 6-1. Back in action on Saturday at Wilmington. They come back home a week from Saturday against Capital. Both of those games at 1 o'clock. For Jeff Miller, I'm Brendan Gulick. So long from Tressel Field. Baldwin Wallace, a big-time winner tonight, 20-2. Have a great night, everybody.